It's an odd thing to say, but the previous time I was naked in a group of people, I was at a swing party shortly after my 18th birthday, and my date was my dad's girlfriend.
Whoa, we gotta really back up.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
The Handy is leading a sex toy revolution for the dick havers. So you're going to want to get this one wrapped around your cock with free shipping when you use promo code Billy20 at thehandy.com. Dick wipes. Yes, I am telling you about Promescent's new dick wipes. These wipes will help you last longer in bed and take up no more space than a condom. Buy Promescent's new delay wipes today at Promescent, PROMESCENT.com. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Shout out to the hot uncles, to the kissing cousins, and to the not my stepmoms. This is Billy Procida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. A little allusion to last week's episode with Rachel Steele. Hey everybody, how you doing? This week on the pod, I have got on fellow comedian and fellow clothing optionalist Andy O'Feish. He is the man behind the Naked Comedy Show. And this episode is barely going to talk about naked comedy because, oh my, did I hit a hard left turn in this interview. I will tell you shortly about this left turn because I have a different left turn I want to tell you all about that happened on a dating app. You ever you're trying to hear what someone's sharing with you, and you're also trying to not be judgmental because you know what they're going to share has brought them lots of judgment in the past. So you are actively listening, a lot of yeah, interesting, yeah, tell me more, but you're not actually processing what they're saying. And then like later it smacks you in the fucking face what it is you just heard. Yeah, that happened. I was on Field. I matched last week with this 50-year-old Indian woman in Manhattan, and her profile was paired with this other woman because on Field you can pair your profile with another profile like of a partner. Cool. So she was paired with this 20-year-old Indian chick, and it turned out after you read their bios that they have a mommy-daughter thing going on. Which I was like, that's hot. Like from a totally male gaze point of view, it's like, oh, there's two women together, hot. They pretend to be mommy-daughter, hot. There's an older one and a younger one, hot. When you read the profiles further, it turns out that they were looking for men to recruit for a gangbang for mommy. It's just like, I gotta redo my cover letter. Here's my resume. Do you need any letters of recommendation? Very on board. And then we started talking further, and I was asking about them. I was like, oh, how long you two been together? Which with a 20-year-old involved, there's kind of an upper limitation of how long they could have been involved together. But hey, you ask. That's a thing you ask. And it turns out it was about 20 years because they didn't have a mommy-daughter dynamic. They were mommy and daughter. Like actually. And actually, still hot. Sorry, not sorry. Not going to pretend I'm the only one in the room who's fantasized about hooking up with a pair of people who have some sort of relation to each other. Just not going to pretend. Don't pretend like you haven't thought about like hooking up with twin brothers or with a mommy and daughter together. Come on. So still on board and just like, yeah, oh, wow. Okay. Surprised, hard left, but it was like a soft left because it's a left I was down for. And then I start going, as it took the harder left where she says, yeah, well, we started talking about it when she was 14 and, we didn't do anything until she was 16, which is the legal age of consent in New York State. And I'm just going, yeah, okay, And then I kind of pivoted us into, oh, well, maybe you and I should just get coffee to start with, and we'll just have a chat, work from there. And then there was this period of time we weren't exchanging messages. About a half hour goes by. And then I'm like, oh, that's not okay. Grooming is bad. If you don't know what grooming is like when an adult person doesn't touch the kid, but they start like preparing the kid to be touched. You know, it's like when like a high school teacher who doesn't hook up with their student, but like at 13, 14, 15 starts flirting with their student and getting the student prepared to fuck them when they're no longer a student, when they're of age, etc. Right? Not considered okay because there's this huge power differential there, namely in the like maturity difference and emotional difference and intellectual differences of the people involved, one being a child, one being an adult. They call it grooming. And I was like, wait, this woman just told me she's been grooming her kids since she was 14. I just think there's a world of a difference. Consenting adults should be able to do what they want with other consenting adults. However, there is a huge difference between like 19-year-old daughter starting to make moves on mom and mom and daughter talking about the eventual fucking that they will do when the daughter's 14 for several years before then they start fucking. Not okay. And then start doing stuff before she's 18 while you're still also have to play mom. No, that's not okay. Can't do that. Had to report that to field. Ugh, that was just like a hot situation that turned into an even hotter situation that turned into an oh fucking no situation. Oh my, has that ever happened to you? Oh gosh, if you've ever had something like that where just like things are going great, things are going greater, and then what the fuck? I would love to hear your story. Shoot me an email with your oh no hard left turn dating stories at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Of course, you can also send your, episode feedback. You can send your sex and dating questions, advice questions, right? You can send your criticisms, just yelling at me. Send any and all of that over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. You just may hear your email on a future episode. Oh my. Well, before I get to my hard left conversation with Andy O'Feish, I got an exciting announcement. An exciting special offer for you. Y'all know what the Peep Show is at this point. If you're a longtime listener, you know that I've been hosting a private, sexy, supportive, sex positive, explicit group chat for like over 5 years. It's called The Peep Show. It's a place where we just share nudes, gifts, and compliments all day, every day. It's a magical place. It may be Hump Wednesday. You post a picture of your butt and dozens of strangers will just tell you like, oh my gosh, you look great. You look fabulous. Work it, boy, girl, they, whatever. And it's a community that is available for my $10 and up supporters on Patreon until today. For the month of November, all Patreon members are entitled to 1 free week in the Peep Show. Yes. If you want to join my Patreon and try out the Peep Show today, you can support the podcast at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. If you are already a Patreon member at a lower tier, just shoot me a message or an email. I'll get you in for a week, give you your trial run. And by the way, I first asked the Peep Show, I was like, hey, are you guys going to be upset if I like offer, like a free trial of the Peep Show to some people? Are you going to feel like commodified and used? Are you going to feel uncomfortable with that? Having people who might only be in the Peep Show for a week? And everyone was like, nah, dude, just bring them in. Yeah. The more dicks and pussies and butts you let into the group, the better. We're all for it. Bring them in, Billy. So I have the Peep Show's blessing to offer these 1 week free trials. And one of our new Peep Show members is Nicholas Marino, who's going to get his fan whore appreciation moment. Yes. Shout out to Nicholas, who has just gotten an annual membership. He's gonna be around in the Peep Show for a whole ass year, and he's gonna see so much ass, including my own. So shout out to this strategic sweeper for being a dope fan whore, for supporting the show. And I hope you two will join us in there. One more time, that's patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Andy O'Feish. He's been running the Naked Comedy Show for over a decade. I've done the Naked Comedy Show a dozen or so times. Doing comedy with your dick out is a fun way to change it up. I clipped out the first 18 minutes of our conversation, and it's coming out tomorrow on Patreon because it's really mostly comedy shop talk. We're talking about Edinburgh Fringe. We talk about the origins of the Naked Comedy Show. We talk about this nudist retreat he went to that, where he first did naked stand-up. That comes out tomorrow for my $5 and up fan whores on Patreon. Our conversation is going to enter shortly before things take a hard left turn. As you heard in the teaser, oh my, Andy's father had some shaky sexual boundaries at home. He will tell you all about it. And so that's what you're going to kind of come into. For some of you who might be a little bit more sensitive to hearing about child emotional abuse, I do giggle a lot through this episode, and my giggling and laughter is really me just mirroring Andy, because that's how my potentially autistic brain sometimes will do things. I see the guy talking about potentially traumatic shit, laughing and smiling, and he's also a comedian. Well, then I'm going to laugh and smile and be a comedian. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm being glib about how Andy's father treated Andy. Andy's being glib, and therefore I'm being glib with him. That's my way of trying to be somewhat socially intelligent. This is such a cool one. I hope y'all enjoy it. We're going to do a couple of ads, and then we're going to chat with Andy O'Feish. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by The Handy, which is a hand job machine. And I just think that so many of us with the penises wished we had like a really good sex toy where we can just like stick it in, hit a few buttons, and then like let it do its thing. And that's exactly what the Norwegians have come up with the Handy. And with the rise of virtual reality porn, Handy is already working on integrations and content partnerships with some of the hottest porn stars in the game. What kind of like integrations? Well, imagine you put on a VR headset and you see a sexy, beautiful person in front of you in between, quote unquote, your legs, and they reach out and start stroking your cock on the VR headset. And without having to hit any buttons, your Handy starts stroking you the lengths, the style, the speeds that the porn star is stroking you at. What? This is the beginning stage of the dystopic but kind of really awesome future where you can go and you pay like $20 and you can put on some goggles, stick your dick in a hole, and you watch some porn while things happen to your dick, and then you come, and then you just go to Reebok and buy some sneakers. It's next door. It's amazing. I love my Handy. It's truly my favorite sex toy that I own and regularly use. And I know Fan Whore Nation is digging the automated handjob action. And our special exclusive offer for whoreheads is about to run out. So you really do got to hurry up on this thing. You can get free expedited shipping on your Handy, which saves you 20, 30, 40 bucks. Depending where you live in the world. You can get free expedited shipping when you use my promo code, Billy20, that's BILLY20 at thehandy.com. So one more time, get your Handy today at thehandy, THEHANDY.com, and use the promo code Billy20 at checkout. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Promescent. Promescent's delay spray and delay wipes will give dick havers that extra bit of time you need to get the job done. I certainly know one of my biggest insecurities in the bedrooms. It's not my dick size. It's not the firmness of my cock. It's not even like my body anymore. It's truly my stamina. I don't have like a medical grade, like premature ejaculation problem, but sometimes I get really extra excited or extra nervous and come a bit quicker than I would like to. You don't have to do No Nut November to regain control over your sensitivity. Folks, you need Promescence delay wipes and delay spray. The delay spray is more for people who have like comes under a minute consistently all the time, like true premature ejaculation. For those of y'all like me who just need a little extra time, the delay wipes are incredible. And while you're at Promescence website, you can enjoy a slew of their premium sexual wellness products. Give yourself more time today at promescent.com and let them know the Man Whore Podcast sent you. Now let's get to the show. Who's the most famous person that has done the Your Naked Comedy Show?
I would probably say Eric Andre.
Yeah. Who, when I saw him, he ran in, and I think Mike Lawrence was on stage, and he came in late. Eric was late, so he runs through because it was the old pit, so he had to run through.
Yeah.
Like the crowd, like he has to run
cross
through the
stage to get backstage.
Yeah, so like Mike Lawrence is on stage, and he just kind of like runs by him, slaps him on the ass, and runs back. I was like, okay, that's Eric Andre. That was my introduction to Eric Andre.
Well, here's what's awesome. I knew Eric Andre because he played some clubs up in Boston, and then a friend of a friend suggested he do the Naked Show, and Eric's like, yeah, I'm in. So he shows up not knowing. Well, I mean, I don't know what he knew. But my first interaction with him was, hey, what do you think if I come out in this thong? Wouldn't that be funny? I'm naked on the Naked Show. I was like, yeah, well, no, we're all going to be naked and don't wear the thong.
Yeah.
He had a look on his face, was like, huh. And then it shifted from to like, oh, I'm doing this. Like resolve. Like, yeah.
Like he's been waiting to take his dick out in front of people for ages.
Yeah, and even at that moment, right, before he's famous for taking his dick out. But,
yeah, that's a good point.
But I feel like maybe I feel like, Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, like I created a monster. Because not that I did, but I felt like I was there at the inception of Eric Andre not having any boundaries around clothes. Because there was that moment when he was like, oh, I can be naked. And then he was, and it was great. It was hilarious. It's so funny.
Now that wellness retreat where you first did that, was that the first time you were naked in front of a group of people?
First time naked in front of a group of people.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I would have thought, like, because I kind of am like, why were you even at that retreat in the first place? But it's like kind of, I don't know. I just kind of felt like that was your thing, your vibe. I thought you were just like, yeah, it's Andy. He's a nudist. And
No. That was the moment where I was like, oh, I can just be naked in front of people.
Yeah.
Although I say that, and it's an odd thing to say, but the previous time I was naked in a group of people, I was at a swing party shortly after my 18th birthday.
Excuse you?
Yeah. No, I was at a swinger party on 2 consecutive weekends, because the first one I went, there was only 4 couples. And my date was my dad's girlfriend.
Whoa, we gotta really back up. Okay, explain. Let's start with the fact that you're just like, yeah, back to back fucking swinger weekends, no big deal. 18. What?
Yeah,
why?
no, it was very.
She was the date to
odd.
both of those parties.
She, Bonnie.
Bonnie
from this would have been 86.
Okay, I was almost born then.
You were almost born.
89.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing about my dad.
Okay.
He is what's the word for it? Comorbid.
Okay, meaning
I think he is bipolar and socioaffective disorder.
What's socioaffective disorder?
I don't know. I just know that a lot like my dad. Okay. Delusions of grandeur.
Okay.
And just a loose grasp of where he ends as a person and other people begin, and just kind of I mean, all the good bipolar stuff.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, growing up, I only knew him in a manic state. Because if he was in a depressed state, he wasn't around.
Right.
He was in a desert somewhere. Anyway, and he was addicted to pretty much anything that didn't involve ingesting drugs. He was like addicted to gambling.
An experience junkie.
Addicted to sex, addicted to all the addictions, and completely averse to any kind of mind-altering drug, especially if it was being administered by a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
and food addicted. That was his drug. Anyway, he was all over the map, but I only ever knew him manic phase, and he was adventure dad. And around that same time, he was starting his own chess federation.
Okay.
Yeah, because he got cheated out of something by a particular tournament director, and it's like, I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
I'm
how it
start
went
my
down
own
too.
chess federation and book chess tournaments on the same weekends that you have your chess tournaments, and I'm going to add a 0 to your prize fund. And he burned through a few $100,000 on that little project. But that was a manic phase, and he was also like a software developer and like contractor and super smart genius, and in Bay Area, California, and a swinger
With a girlfriend named Bonnie.
Who was as much older than him as he was to me.
Okay, so he
I
was probably in his 40s.
18. He was in his late 30s. He was not yet 40.
Okay.
And she was pushing 60.
Hot.
American Indian bodybuilder.
This gets better and better.
With, yeah. Like, yeah. Anyway.
I feel like you were about to be like, with a great rack. And
No.
Shouldn't say that about Bonnie.
It was a sexy Terminator look.
Okay.
She had a sexy, very hard, leathery, muscular female form that did not look her age at all.
And so how does...
And she was super quiet and so sweet. And apparently, according to my dad, psychically, his match.
Did you know he was a swinger back when you were in high school?
Oh, yeah. No, he's very open about his sex life.
Of course.
I
imagine boundaries were pretty loosey-goosey in the house.
Yeah. No, I mean, he never touched me inappropriately.
Only appropriately?
No, I mean, but he was a nudist around the house. And at one point, I was 11 or 12, and he was like... hey, are you at all uncomfortable with me being naked? Because I've heard I probably shouldn't be naked around you. And
one of your fucking teachers told me maybe.
But here's the thing. It's like I was very non-committal in my answer, and I think even at that point, like before consent culture, it was like, that's not a yes. And he wore clothes around me for quite a while after that.
Oh,
but
very perceptive of him.
But yeah, no, his whole thing was bullying other members of my family to make sure I was always completely at choice, because he didn't see me as different than him. He thought I was an extension of him.
Right.
And the thing about my dad is, like, you've never been loved by anyone if you haven't as much as if you've been loved by a narcissist who considers you an extension of themselves.
Right. Loving you is loving him.
Right. And all of his manipulative abilities were like lent towards imagining what my dreams are and trying to get me to live them. So like I always felt really pressured by my dad to like be adventurous and leave my job and go explore exactly what I want to, because that's what he would do.
Right. So how do we get to you going to the swinger party?
Oh,
with
he was
his
like,
girlfriend?
I want you to enjoy, this experience. And because I was really shy. I was very awkward, like socially, super computer nerd.
Yeah. Well, you had a naked dad just walking around loving the shit out of you.
So I was like super sex positive. I had zero, like, I didn't have any like built-in shame around sex or my body, but I did like very gradually get the idea. I don't know how to talk to people. I just don't have social skills. You know what I mean? I had like very no shame around a lot of the things people usually have shame around. But
Yeah.
anyway.
No, similarly, I was a happy kid. I just didn't know how to talk to the other kids, and they thought that was weird, and then they wanted to make me miserable.
Oh yeah, and my mom and my stepdad, everyone's very sex positive in my family, and I think they kept their swinging to themselves.
What, did your mom also swing with her?
You know, she would never share that with me.
But like, is that? But you know that?
I don't know that.
But you like suspect.
Who knows?
Who knows? Okay.
I don't know anything about my mom's sexuality.
Fair enough. Well, I think you knew enough about your dads for the both of them.
Just generally, people that are super cool around sex, tend to be sex party people.
That is very true. That is pretty true.
The only evidence I have directly from my mom is, she never taught me to be ashamed of sex or anything.
Right. But your dad's like, you're 18, you're a man, go to this play party, and Bonnie will show you the way.
This is your thing, right? Bonnie was like more of my gender balance than my date.
Okay, so you didn't hook up with Bonnie?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, in fact, I didn't really hook up with anyone except for this one Korean woman who was about as shy as I was, and we did some hand stuff while watching other people fuck.
What was it like to walk into that place?
It was just so awkward.
Yeah?
It was just cringy.
You weren't a virgin at that point, were you?
No, I think I had already lost my virginity to someone who actually my dad set me up with when I was 16.
Did your dad get you a prostitute for your 18th birthday?
I could have been.
Could have been.
I don't know, but I think all I know is she was a friend of his from his sex party scene. And then that first experience when I was 16 was just so sweet and gentle, and she was just showing me the ropes, and I couldn't even get an erection, and I somehow had ejaculated while being mostly flaccid while she was going down on me.
Okay.
After an attempt at actually having intercourse, and it was awkward and uncomfortable. And then within 15 minutes, she was in the bathroom and I was just relaxing on the bed. And then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, now I'm ready to go. Now I have an erection. And then I heard a knock on the door. And it was my dad's like, you all done in there? And I was like, I was going to say something, but you know how like in a hotel room, the bathroom is closest to the door?
Yeah.
Yeah. She yelled out from the bathroom, yeah, we're done. I was like, I could have done better on the second.
Did you ever get to to give another go?
Not with her. No, okay. That was a one-off.
That's wild.
But I definitely had some delightful other sexual interactions after that, which worked much better. But that would be a whole other tangent.
But you seem to have like healthy sexual boundaries. I mean, like we were sitting in a room that has like a diagram. Is your partner, your wife, your girlfriend?
My partner. We go by partner.
Sure.
Yeah.
Your partner, Drew, and it's like it says wheel of consent. Like you seem to have an idea of healthy sexual boundaries, but like, do you feel like you have those despite what were maybe some shaky ones back at home, or do you feel like you learned from those?
Oh, yeah. No, I just always felt like my boundaries were always respected.
Okay. And
since talking to a lot of people about this sort of thing, I realized my experience was fairly unique.
Yeah. I think a lot of people might be surprised you're coming out on this end of it.
Yeah. And I think a big part of it is because my dad bullied anyone in my family who even threatened my boundaries.
Right.
But not that I was even ever aware of it. You know what I mean? I just knew that other people in my family would never even think of disciplining me, like punishing me for being out late or something, or having any restrictions on my behavior while I was in high school, because they knew they would have to deal with my dad if he heard about it.
Right.
So I grew up with like complete autonomy.
Yeah.
And to the point where even my grandfather, my dad's dad, I was staying with him while my mom and my stepdad went on a vacation on their own. And I was 16 or 17, and he was like saying, you got to be here by 10 o'clock. That's the rules of my house. I know your dad might, or your mom and your stepdad, you let you do whatever, but you got to be in by 10 here. I was like, oh, Grandpa, sure. What?
I've been longing for rules, but my dad won't let anyone apply rules to me right now.
These boundaries are delightful.
Were there any other like shaky situations like that? I mean, like, he said go to the swinger club with my girlfriend, and here's a swinger friend of mine. She's gonna show you some ropes, and
it was really like, all right, you're on your own now. After that, but like I can also remember a time like before that, and I was like, really inappropriately young for this invite, but he invited me to watch him have sex with his girlfriend.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I was like, nah, I don't think so. And then the only thing I ever heard about it, because I never heard about it again.
Yeah.
It was just the invite was put out there from upstairs to downstairs, literally.
Right.
And then the last thing I ever heard about it was my dad saying, "Oh, you're missing a hell of a show."
And yet you seem to do you consider yourself having like a healthy relationship with sexuality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
So it's like how do you look back now on back then? Was there ever a point in your life where you kind of started to realize like that shit wasn't on the up and up? Because when you say inappropriately young, I'm assuming like maybe you were like pubescent, and he's like, "This is how I'm going to show him the birds and the bees instead of talking to him or something."
Yeah, no, I mean it was that.
Not that it's like really at any age appropriate to be like, "Hey, someone wants me fuck my girlfriend."
It's not up to somebody of that age to make that decision,
right?
And I made the cautious decision, but what was interesting is what stuck with me were those words. You're missing out. I did miss a hell of a show. I probably did. Maybe I should have. And that bit of doubt was always in there. But I always feel like, good. Why not have that? Why not have that in my head?
How do you think that having that in your head has informed how you've progressed in sex?
Well, here's the thing. I always, whatever my dad did, I tended to do the opposite. Because, they were separated when I was really young. So clearly he fucked up. He left. It was whatever he was doing. That's how you lose a connection. So like my dad showed me all the ways I should never behave if I ever want to keep someone in my life.
Yeah.
So I am typically like really averse towards yelling at people because that happened a lot before they split up. It's like, oh,
it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, manipulating people into having sex with you is probably not good.
Yeah, not a great thing.
No, nothing stuck around with my dad. Nobody stuck around.
So as you like enter into adulthood, did you stay in the lifestyle? You went to a couple swinger parties. Did you keep going to stuff like that, or is there a big gap?
I just have I didn't really go to swinger parties at all after I was 18. In fact, from 18 until 31, I had no intimate social sexual relationships.
Is that a really fancy multisyllabic way of saying you did not have sex in between that?
It's a fancy way of saying I was scared of asking girls out.
Why is that?
I don't know. I would just get a rejection. I'm like, phew, that was easy. Let's not do that again for 6 months.
Did you ever get a yes and then get nervous like, oh, fuck, what now?
Oh, yeah. No. That would raise the stakes. I'm really going to screw this up. And I got it cemented somehow that I don't know how to talk to people. And nothing to do with my dad. That was just me being socially awkward and hating myself over it.
Yeah.
And then it was the same place I went to that I did the naked comedy. Turn the lights on for me. I was like, oh, all that fear, that means that's a green light.
Yeah.
Because what had been happening was I would have one negative interaction, one feeling like, oh, why did I say that? Oh, I'm like cringing thinking about things I've said. over the phone asking somebody on a date. I was like, let's never do that again.
Yeah.
And then that would never happen again for like months.
Was that retreat? That was when you were 31.
Yeah, no.
So what brought you to that retreat?
Actually, with 30, it was a year after the retreat where I actually had sex with somebody. But no, what brought me to it was like losing my job and not having anyone to have a shoulder to cry on. Because usually, you would go to whoever you're intimate with for that. And I was like, I had nobody, and I had nobody within miles. And I was like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And I went and saw a therapist about it. And I was like, well, you just need some people. You need to find your people and have some intimate connections. And then that won't happen again. You'll have a shoulder to cry on when you lose your job, And so he said, here's where you should go. Go to Cambridge Center for Adult Ed. That's where I took the stand-up comedy class. And he said, go to this other thing. It's called the Human Awareness Institute. Okay. And that's where I did the Naked Weekend. And then you put the two together like a Reese's peanut butter cup, and then I was a happy boy after that. So that's how it all came together. And then I was like, oh, shit, that's scary. If I do it once, we'll find out if it's really scary. And it wasn't. It wasn't scary to get naked. And it wasn't scary to be intimate with not just women, men. I was intimate with men. I was like, oh, men are cool too.
Yeah.
like I was really frightened of intimacy with men as much as with women.
Yeah.
And then it was just like having the lights turned on, and it's like, well, let's try it. Let's try being intimate with these people. And it was all right. It was better than all right. It was great. And then I went into that workshop thinking, I got to come here and find a girlfriend. And I left thinking, why do I need a girlfriend? If I want love, I can have it.
How do you come to that realization?
It was just a matter of having experienced it. I was like, this is the real thing. This is really about finding love from within and having your cup full. So then when I went and I interacted with women I'm attracted to, the stakes were much lower. I wasn't walking around empty.
You didn't need them to fill the cup. You had a full cup.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you can share your cup with them, but like, you don't need it. It's not the end of the world if they say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it's not the end of the world if they say yes and it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
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 That's incredible.
And part of it was I was also having a lot of low stakes connections, which were just purely cuddle based and not sexual.
Cuddle based.
Just touch without the sex.
Right. No, I'm familiar with the concept of cuddling.
Yeah,
Big
no,
fan.
it's just like, oh yeah, cuddle buddies. People we cuddle with. Oh, it's real clear. We're not fucking. This is getting our touch bucket filled up, and then you're not going around the world interacting with people starved for touch.
Is it incredible now to like realize how not scary just saying like, hi, I'm Andy, I think you're really cute. Is it wild that like that used to be so scary? Even me, like I going to sex parties, if I go solo, like if I want stuff to happen, I'm going to have to go introduce myself to people. I have to actually psych myself up in my head and be like, Billy, you're going to shake 3 hands, introduce yourself to 3 new people. You want to leave after that? You can leave after that, but you're going to introduce yourself to 3 new people. You don't have to hook up. And my stakes, I always try to be like, I would like to make out with a new person. For me, that is a successful party attendance. Everything for me, everything else is bonus, right? It's like, but even like, I really don't think I felt truly confident just go up to someone and say like, hi, I'm Billy, you're really cute. Until the first post vaccination play party earlier this year was really the first time I was like, Billy, you're going to a sex party. They're at a sex party too. They're there for a reason. I can just go say that. But that was a terrifying idea before then. Even just a few years ago. It's wild to think like what we were afraid of.
Yeah, no, and I think a big part of it is when you're walking around full, it lowers the stakes and it's not so scary.
I think also people can sense when someone looks like they've got stuff going on, that their cup is full, and that's like an attractive element. Whereas if you like are walking around acting like your cup is half full or kind of empty, then it's like, the fuck's he got to offer?
Yeah.
Even if you're making someone like think twice, they're like, wait, what? This guy He seems like he's got some. I'm sensing the vibe. Let's explore this.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. When did you start going to into group sex again?
I never really. I wouldn't say I got into it. I just always kind of tangentially connected.
Because this basement that we're in is very like
we've
very
had
play party friendly.
We've had some play parties.
Yeah.
I feel much more comfortable as a host, and we've hosted a few, but not like anything regular.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always very once in a while, and it's much more often. We will come down here, and of course, our audience can't see this, but there's like a wall of art here, and it would typical party down here would be a bunch of mostly naked people lounging on futons and mattresses while a couple of people are painting on the wall, and it's like watching TV in slow motion, and we're just cuddling and getting a lot of touch, and probably nobody had sex. Mm-hmm. No, not like a sex vibe.
When you have like a gathering like that, how do you like to set the container?
Well, it's the activity, and it's who.
But like
you
when
invite.
you when you're inviting, like, do you say explicitly what the event is, like what the party's going to be about? Do you lay out certain ground rules
Sometimes
or not?
it can happen.
Yeah.
We'll go that way, and other times we won't, and we get different results. And my preference is let the group of people we invite into our home dictate the vibe of the party.
Sure.
And it is interesting because it does come up, like, because we just hosted a birthday party for a friend of mine, and I think a lot of the people at the party were sex party people.
Right.
So we debated, are we going to specifically say this is not a sex party, or are we just going to anyway, birthday girl wrote the invite, and I forget exactly what she said. But yeah, it wasn't a sex party. Oh, I also think it depends on how big is the party and how well does everyone attending know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like lately I've only been to one legit sex party, and it was the summer with a friend of mine who we're cuddly, and we'll exchange massage occasionally, and but she had wanted to talk about kink with me because she knows I'm connected with a lot of kink people. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to find out what your kink is. And we went out and had a lovely time talking about kink. And I found out what she was really looking for is to be, offered up to people. And,
right.
And to be
she wants to be lent out.
Yeah. To be presented and invite people to have their way with her. And also to be seen, right, and to be the center of things. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And within a day, I got an invite to the perfect sex party for that, and it was somebody's birthday who I didn't really know that well, and I got this invite. And I knew almost everybody there. And they're all people who I kind of knew go to sex parties. But I knew them all. And that really made the difference. And it was so fun. And I brought my friend and she got the experience of at one point there was some electricity play and I got beaten some, and it was fun, and I got the electricity, which I'd never experienced with the electric claws and there was what's the cross thing?
The St. Andrew's cross?
Yeah, it was a St. Andrew's cross. It was really nice. It was the most comfortable St. Andrew's cross I'd ever seen, but it was all about that kind of softness, and then the claws and the gotcha, and I was like, so fun. Yeah, and at one point, my friend was operating the claws, and my friend who invited me was controlling the electricity.
Okay.
And I was like, I felt like I was kind of in a threesome, and nobody was touching because they were really dialing in the pain sensation, and it was fun. And then people just started fucking, and at the same time, I was having nice cuddles and strokes, and it was very much like that very first sex party where we're just stroking and touching each other, watching other people fuck.
It is such a underrated joy of going to a play party is like, especially if like a couple say no to this type of stuff, it's just go and like don't do anything, don't get naked, just like have fun at it and take that sexual energy home or just play with each other. Like, I think a lot of people think sex party means, oh God, do I have to get naked? Do I have to have sex with other people? I think they just assume that they have to do stuff. And I don't know what other parties are out there. I do not taste test a lot of different groups or whatever, but if it's a party worth its salt, I feel like they will make it so explicitly clear that you do not have to do things you don't want to do. They will make it so explicitly clear that like consent is key and all that jazz. And then once you know that there's no obligation, gosh, then everything you want to do that's pleasurable is your choice. And it's really fun. And anything you don't do wasn't going to be fun for you, or it might be a thing you do in our time. But watching is really, the only thing is like, I wish masturbation was a little bit more, chill and acceptable at like a sex party.
Yeah, I think the difference is in the communication.
Yeah,
having a connection with people and acknowledging, hey, look what we're doing. You guys are having sex and I'm playing with myself.
Yeah,
is that cool? Are we cool? Yeah. All right, cool, awesome. All right.
But just in the
whereas, or you're hiding in the corner, pleasuring yourself awkwardly without actually having any interaction with the people whose activity you're getting off on.
Even in the same way that like a couple or however many people like go to a specific like space, right? If they go like, oh, we're going to go claim that like that mattress there. I wish in the same way I can claim my little sliver of space and not like to anyone, but just like while taking in the vibes, just like having a damn good slow stroke session with myself. While all this sexual energy is around me, I'm not necessarily jerking off to any one person. I'm not necessarily staring at any one in particular, but just like looking around, loving the environment and like getting on with myself. But I hear that it's not like not allowed, but it's frowned upon. Like jerking off on an airplane.
I think it depends on where you're at and what people are into. Because I bet that might be frowned upon by some people, but for other people, having someone in the corner jerking off to them, having sex with someone else, that's their kink.
Sure. Sure. And so how long have you been with this one upstairs?
Oh, my current partner, we met at a Tantra workshop.
Of course you did.
5 years ago. 5.5 years ago.
Okay.
And then, we didn't really interact much at the workshop, but at the end of it, we met up and said, well, let's get together and talk about maybe practicing Tantra together. Not in any kind of romantic thing, but
super
just,
cash.
It was super cash. And then we go out to dinner and we both rode bikes, and she lived in Harvard Square and I work in Harvard Square. And then we went out to just, talk Tantra.
Yeah.
And right up front, she's like, yeah, I have no intention of practicing with you at all tonight. Just let's be clear.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, sure. We're going out for dinner. Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk Tantra. Yeah, whatever.
You weren't like disappointed or anything like that?
No. And then we really got along during dinner and just connected around a lot of the stuff we learned from the Tantra weekend. And I don't know, after a drink or so in, and just like, I was like, wow, I'm really into you. and she was like, wow, that's the sweetest thing I ever heard. I was like, yeah, so seeing as how we're definitely not doing anything tonight, do you want to have a safe sex conversation? And she was like, sure. And I was like, and we get another, also, since we're not doing anything tonight, get another round of drinks. I was like, yeah, we got a second round of drinks. Yeah. And so then we had the most awesome safe sex conversation and another round of drinks. And then she invited me back to her place, and I didn't, I went to work from her place.
But you totally didn't do anything.
We worshipped each other in a way that was really tantric, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I would say we didn't actually like have like genital on genital sex until like 2 or 3 dates in.
I'm glad you can still be so traditional in one thing. I'm still a 3-date guy when we're doing the genital rubbing, but tantric worship, hey,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah, no, it worked out great.
That's wonderful.
But I would think the main thing was that we didn't start out hot for each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was more like, oh, you're fun, let's hang out.
Yeah,
and then the real like intimacy and the romance came from within that, which I felt like was a good sign.
Yeah,
for how things have gone, and now we live together, and it's great.
That's fantastic. And I assume since she was at a tantric workshop, the lifestyle was like not an adjustment thing because she was already in that world.
Oh yeah. So the first time I said, well, I'm going to go hang out with my friend and we might have sex tonight. And then her response to that was, honey, this is exactly the kind of relationship I'm looking for.
Oh,
Was
Andy.
my response to that.
Good for you.
Yeah, so
that's great.
I was like, oh, great. We like doing polyamory the same way. Because just saying you like you're polyamorous doesn't mean you're going to do polyamory the same way.
Yeah, I don't know what
another
the fuck
person is.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck does that mean to you? Right? It's like
you're basically saying what you're not.
Yeah, you're just saying like this won't be monogamous.
We're not defaulting to promising each other to not ever have sex with anyone else while we're together.
Right. That's all the information that's been conveyed, and there's still so much conversation to have after that. Yeah.
So we definitely have been practicing. So it's been an awesome trip, and had a really difficult stretch, which only served to prove like, hey, no matter what happens, we're still together.
What was the difficult stretch?
Wow, that's a whole other story. But so let me see how to get into it. It was like a weird triangle situation where without getting into any of the details, it wasn't so much that she was jealous of the person who was with me. Mm-hmm. It was that she was jealous in the other direction. Like
she was jealous of her taking up your time?
No, of the other, because she was into the other person.
Oh, I mean, she was still into you. She was jealous because she's like, well, I want to fuck her too.
Exactly.
And well, I hope
it was, and it was definitely her friend, and then we're all friends, right? But then at a certain point, I tend to grow on people. I'm a slow burn. And so like, maybe a year or year and a half, I just remember a particular Super Bowl party, and this person came with somebody else and basically sat in my lap for the entire party. Although there was a part at halftime when she went to go talk to this other guy, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not seeing her again. But then she came back, and I was like, oh, this is on.
But I'm sure that there are younger versions of both you and me that would be in that scenario and think, oh, I guess I just must have really comfortable thighs.
Yeah. So we went through a whole thing, a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of really difficult communications, and just a chunk of time where I just didn't see this other person for a few months, just to let everything cool off. And then,
do you tell that other person? Do you tell them like, "Hey, I gotta take a little break"?
No, we all talked together.
We all had to talk.
Oh, it was all three of us, like really intense, difficult communication, and really a lot of it came down to like sibling rivalries and triggers, and they mirroring triggers to just match up, and just like everybody is somebody else's mom or sister. And that's how it works out. But what came out of that was a connection between the three of us. It was like, we got through that, and now anything's possible, to the point where last Christmas we spent COVID pod Christmas.
Are you all three
with the
still
three
together?
of us, right?
Okay.
And I remember, I don't know if it was Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. It must have been, no, it was Christmas Eve in our little pod, and yeah, they let me know that I'm on my own because the two of them were vibing. I was like, okay, that hurts a little, but awesome. Awesome. 'Cause this is so much better than how things had been in the connection between the three of us.
So the three of you are dating?
I wouldn't
hook up?
describe it
Sorry, the three-
dating. I wouldn't describe it
Okay.
dating. We're all like,
You're all friends who sometimes
yeah,
fool around.
and then like every, I mean, my partner and I, we live together, right? But this other person, yeah, she's off like with a new guy and doing what she does, and she's got a lot of other stuff going on, intimate connections that have nothing to do with me. So it really does come down to like every couple of weeks. So yeah, we all get together and it's like, get all the stories kind of connection. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I feel like it's exactly the kind of relationship I like, where it is whatever it is in the moment. And I feel like maybe we're getting to the end, and I'll just end on this. It's been the cornerstone of my connection with my partner that this concept that all we ever really have is right now. So let's just be in the now, and whatever's happening right now is a good indicator for how things are going to go. So just really be in this moment, because even though it's a good indicator for how things are going to go, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So all we ever really had is right now. So just be in this moment.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Quick yes, no question, but like, do you identify as a nudist?
I identify as a clothing optionalist because I am as uncomfortable in a nudist camp where they say you got to be naked as I would be in a place where it's like you got to wear certain clothing. Like you got to wear this you got to wear a coat and tie to be here.
Hate those places.
Just let me be.
Let me be fucking comfortable. I'll try to look nice while being comfortable.
No, really, I would love to wear a coat and tie to a nudist camp.
No pants.
Yeah, no, just to prove I can.
Yeah. That's great, man. Well, thank you for sharing some time with us. This was wow. Did not realize this backstory. Don't know why all that was in the fucking act. I'm
an odd bird.
I've seen all this. You have no bits on Dad's. Yeah. Fuck my friend. She'll show you.
The setup is tiresome.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to connect with an audience on that.
What, y'all can't relate? But Andy, where can people go to find you, follow you, and hopefully one day watch you do naked stand up?
I would say if your best bet is just follow the Comedy Studio.
The Comedy Studio is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Right now, they're doing shows at Vera's in Somerville, in Union Square, and they have shows on Thursday to Sunday, and it's a small venue, and they're on, what do they call it, on they're not at their usual location. I don't want to say on hiatus. What is it? It's on sabbatical.
They're residential. They're the residential.
They're doing a residence somewhere.
They're doing a residency. The Comedy Studio has a residency at Vera's.
But if you go to the Comedy Studio's website, social media, I'll put a link in the show notes.
Just check them out. And go see a show at Vera's, and it's awesome.
Sounds good,
It's just like the Comedy Studio that was at the Hong Kong for so many years.
Yeah. I just realized, by the way, while you were talking, I was like, I knew you when you had the big curly red hair. And it's like you got full on like Santa Claus look going on, man.
Well, it's that time of year.
Rock it. Well, thanks again for making time to chat with us. And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Oh, goodbye, everyone. This has been a fun chat.
Wow, Andy's dad took, setting up your kid with someone to like a whole different level. You're not supposed to set your kid up with a friend from the swinger party. Come on. Oh my gosh. I can't believe Andy is as sexually well-adjusted as he is. I'm sure he's fucked up in some sort of other way. Of course, I hope you're following me on the social media. I'm on Twitter at @TheBillyPresida. I'm on Instagram at BillyIsPresida. And Facebook is not letting me post anything anymore, so you can go like my fan page on Facebook if you want to, but I'm like literally not allowed to post, and I can't get a human to review it, but they're also not deleting the page, so I don't know. Folks, some of you, if you're on my email list, you got an email this week asking for some help, and I'm going to repeat it over here. I don't like doing this. I don't think I've done this ever to this extent, but I know the pandemic really kicked a lot of us in the financial dick, and I know a lot of us are still recovering from that. I know I am, but part of the reason I'm able to still do this show every week without missing a week is because of some financial security I had on Patreon. But that financial security is starting to hit some concerning lows. Since the height of my Patreon in April 2020, I'm down over 36%. And at some point, this won't be as sustainable if that can't reach at least a certain minimum base level. So if you want to help keep the Man Whore podcast going strong, if you have just $2 to chip in, it would be very much appreciated. It's $2, folks. And I could use your help at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I know some of you don't like monthly debits. They do offer annual memberships. I even offer you 5% off if you pay for the whole year up front. And if you don't like Patreon because you just don't like them, in my show notes, there is my Venmo and Cash App handles. They are at Billy Presida and $manwhorepod respectively. Keep us going over here. I'm working hard for you. And if none of that sounds appealing to you, but you would pay like $10 to $20 for a Billy Presida sex tape, then it sounds like you need to head on over to onlyfans.com/callmebilly. Be out there doing your things, shoot your shots, people, take some risks, have some fun, stay financially solvent, and stay slutty. Dogecoin to the moon? Ready to buy the dip? Start investing in cryptocurrency today with Coinbase. And you can get $10 worth of Bitcoin for free after signing up at manwhorepod.com/crypto. Come on, how much longer is this fiat thing gonna last?